sentencing. The agency didn't even support the survivors' 2019 petition to try Sengar under more severe IPC charges, citing they weren't squarely applicable. The irony is rather amusing. The trial court noted the CBI's investigation was unfair, disadvantaging the survivor. Her family alleges the agency colluded with rape-accused Sengar to suppress evidence on her age, producing fabricated documents. This case has raised serious concerns about the CBI's role in ensuring justice for victims and the complexities of prosecuting powerful individuals. Let's just tell you what the three moves are that the CBI must explain at this point. Takeaway number one, CBI chose legal formalism over victim justice. That's the big question. Instead of contesting the spirit of accountability, the CBI leaned on a narrow, or rather technical argument that an MLA is not a public servant under Section 21 IPC, fully aware here that this would weaken the application of graver charges under POCSO. So the next question here comes, did CBI prioritize legal defensiveness over the survivors' right to strong prosecution? Investigation, we are given to understand, and we're seeing proof of this also, was marked by bias and not neutrality. The High Court's own record is damning here. The trial court found it an inescapable conclusion that the CBI's investigating officer failed to conduct a fair probe. Is the victim justified in alleging active collusion, then suppression of age-related evidence and the introduction of fabricated documents? CBI withdrew institutional support when it mattered the most. When the victim sought in 2019 to have Sengar tried under more stringent provisions as a public servant accused of rape, the CBI refused to back this plea, arguing the charges were not squarely applicable. Now you'd think that's a given, but that's not what they thought. Did CBI's refusal, which is also noted by the High Court, effectively leave the survivor battling not just the accused but the CBI itself? Meanwhile, the survivor continues to fight for justice. Listen to this.
मेरे साथ फिलहाल इस केस की पीड़िता यानी जो जिनके साथ दुष्कर्म करने की कोशिश की गई वो थी, किस तरीके से आप देखती हैं जो आज निर्णय कल हाईकोर्ट की तरफ से आया है, मुझे ये बताइए।
मुझे इस निर्णय से मुझे बहुत दुख है, मुझे आहत हो रही है और मुझे लगा मैं हाई कोर्ट में ही अपना सुसाइड कर लूं, लेकिन मेरे साथ में बहुत गलत हुआ है। क्या 30 जारी कोर्ट के जज साहब देवेंद्र शर्मा अनपढ़ थे जो उनको सजा सुनाई? हाई कोर्ट के जज ऐसा क्या है कि वो ना सुप्रीम कोर्ट के हाई लेवल पे है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजों से हाई लेवल नहीं है, लेकिन उन्होंने पता नहीं क्या देखते हुए उनके फेवर में ऑर्डर सुनाया। मेरे चाचा की बेल खारिज होती है, उसके बाद में मेरे परिवार की, मेरे गवाहों की, मेरे पैरोकारों की सुरक्षा हटाई जाती है। उसके बाद उसमें बहस हो जाती है 3 महीना बहस होने के बाद 3 महीने बाद ऑर्डर आता है। बहस होने के 1-2 दिन बाद अगर ऑर्डर आता तो मुझे देश को मैसेज जाता, पब्लिक को मैसेज जाता कि ऐसा हुआ, लेकिन 3 महीने बाद आया था कि पूरा सुरक्षित करके तब ऑर्डर आया। मेरे पति को मरवाया गया, मेरे बच्चे दूध पीते बच्चे हैं, 7-8 करोड़ की धमकी दी जा रही कि कंप्रोमाइज करिए नहीं तो मार देंगे। उनके लिए सुरक्षा क्या चीज है? 5 लोग कुछ नहीं है, वो कभी भी मार सकते। बस मेरा यही है कि मुझे न्याय दिया जाए और इनको इस मामले में जमानत ना दी जाए, क्योंकि ये देश का पहला ऑर्डर है जो हर बेटी की हिम्मत को तोड़ दिया।
आज मैं आपकी माता जी के साथ मौजूद था और आप जब उनसे बात कर रही थी, कुछ सुरक्षा को लेके भी कुछ दिक्कत हुई। आप एक दूसरी गाड़ी में थी, हम लोग एक दूसरी गाड़ी में थे।
सुरक्षा के मद्देनजर तक देखते हुए मुझे उन्होंने बोला कि आप सुरक्षा के अंडर में हैं, आप बाहर नहीं जा सकती हैं, और उनका कोई कसूर नहीं, उनकी सुरक्षा जो कोर्ट ने लगा रखी है उन्होंने कोर्ट का उल्लंघन नहीं किया।
गुस्सा है, दर्द है,
गुस्सा है, सब कुछ है। उनकी बेल खारिज की जाए, हमारा यही हाथ जोड़ के रिक्वेस्ट है। हमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे आंख बंद करके भरोसा है कि हमें न्याय मिलेगा और हमें जनता न्याय दिलाएगी।
All right, let's discuss this one by one. We have with us Aman Sharma. Aman, thank you so much for joining me in the studio. Let's just talk about the critical lapses that have come to light here. First here, the definition of a public servant. Let's talk about this, what it really meant for the victim's case and what are the implications that we are seeing play out right now. We've heard the victim's account on this as well.
Well, I think the major matter in this is that the court has struck down Section 5C and Section 6 of the POCSO Act, under which Mr. Sengar was convicted in the trial court. Section 5C and Section 6 means that he would have spent life in jail. Now he only has to be convicted under Section 3 of POCSO Act, under which the maximum sentence is 7 years, and he's already spent more than 7 years in jail. So the High Court is saying we are permanently suspending his sentence. The court is saying, the High Court is saying that Mr. Sengar as an MLA does not qualify to be a public servant, a condition which is very much required if you have to convict a person under Section 5C and Section 6 of the POCSO Act. Now, where does the CBI stand in this? In fact, in the High Court, when this particular question was asked to the CBI, look at what the CBI says. Tackling the contention raised by Mr. Sengar that he is not a public servant for the purposes of the POCSO Act, the learned special public prosecutor of the CBI has submitted that it has been held by the apex court in a particular case that an MLA is not a public servant as defined under Section 21 IPC, but it is for the courts to adopt the principle of purposive construction. So at the very onset of its argument, the CBI in a way is surrendering arms, saying that yes, there is an earlier Supreme Court judgment which says an MLA is not a public servant, but can the court look at a purposive construction of the events to consider him a public servant? I think this was the first stage where the seeds were, seeds were sown that the court will strike off those sections, because the CBI itself is admitting that there is a Supreme Court judgment earlier which holds that the MLA is not a public servant. Then I would like to point to you what the victim's lawyer, how they are slamming the CBI, the victim side in the High Court. Look at what the victim's family is saying. I will read out the quotes to you. Even after the investigation was transferred to the CBI, fairness and impartiality were not ensured. This is what the victim's family is telling the High Court, which subsequently dismissed the charges against Mr. Sengar. Also, the victim's family says, and I will point out here to you, the learned counsel for the victim has drawn the attention of this court to a catena of points which have been highlighted in the earlier judgments, that Sengar, who in a position of authority has bent the law to his advantage, and a premier institution like the CBI has been compromised in the nature and the manner of collecting evidence. So the victim's family is saying that CBI in this particular case was compromised. And why CBI was compromised is also something that is being noted by the High Court in its particular judgment, where it quotes the trial court judgment, where the learned trial court has observed that it is an inescapable conclusion. It is an inescapable conclusion that the investigating officer of the CBI did not conduct a fair investigation in the matter, resulting in a disadvantage to the case of the victim and her family members. This is what the High Court has noted regarding the trial court judgment in this particular case. And I think the most damning point comes regarding this 2019 judgment of the trial court in this particular case. Now, what happened in 2019? That the victim's family went to the trial court, maybe second guessing that, these POCSO charges may not stand. They said graver charges under the IPC must be put against Mr. Sengar because he's a public servant. They filed this petition in the trial court in 2019, and guess what happens? The CBI does not support that petition. The CBI says we do not agree with these additional provisions. We do not want to support the petition. In fact, they oppose the petition in that trial court. And listen what the High Court has now noted. It says the trial court order, which dismissed, of course, the victim's petition of putting additional charges under IPC. It says the above order of the trial court dated 20th August 2019 was not supported by the CBI. So the High Court is saying that this particular trial court order in which the victim's family wanted graver charges against Mr. Sengar was not supported by the CBI. This is very, very rare when the prosecuting agency is not supporting the victim. In fact, it is saying we do not want to put graver charges against Mr. Sengar. So all these things together, all these documents, all these points made in the High Court judgment are raising big, big questions on the CBI.
Absolutely, Aman. Now, for more on this, we're also now being joined by Susben Shah, lawyer and spokesperson Shiv Sena, as well as Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson Congress. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast this morning. Ms. Shah, let me just come to you first. Of course, as Aman has also highlighted, the critical lapses in the CBI's investigation, which have now come to the fore. What's your assessment of this order? I believe we aren't getting your audio, ma'am. If you could just
Yes,
unmute.
yes.
Right.
I've just good morning to all, and let me tell you this: today, all of us, the NDA, there is no politics in this. This is a judicial procedure. There is no political protection. But since I'm here as a spokesperson of the NDA, Shiv Sena, I would like to say this very categorically, that we stand with the survivor. We stand for her dignity, for her safety, and for her safety. Now, what has happened? Whether we have to rely on the wisdom of the two division bench high court judges. Now, whether the appeal should have been heard first before the suspension being passed, I believe these people have a lot to answer. I was very sure that the CBI in their wisdom would move the Supreme Court. CBI, yes, has a lot of explanation to do, and those found guilty of conniving, colluding with the convict. Let me tell you this: he's not been acquitted. He is a convict. He's running consecutively and concurrently 2 life imprisonment. It is indeed a rarest of rare cases. We have no doubt in our mind. So I would like to once again reinforce that there is no political protection. He stands expelled. He will never again ever contest an election or be in a position where he can compromise the dignity of any women of India. So let that be understood. Maybe if there is an anomaly, why they acted in the manner that they did, the entire order is in appeal before the Supreme Court, and we should wait for the Supreme Court to opine on it. But very clear, it is a judicial procedure. It is a pause. If the judgment is wrongly given, but we have to rely on the wisdom of 2 high court judges. They have to answer. CBI also, I have no doubt in my mind, strictest, the person responsible will be penalized. I've served as the chairperson of Maharashtra State Women's Commission. So I stand for dignity of each and every woman. So does the NDA, so does the Shiv Sena. Let that be very clearly understood.
All right, we hear you. Ms. Pooja Tripathi, let me come to you on the same question. What's your take on this?
We stand with the dignity of women. We stand with the survivor. And wherever you're standing up when the survivor, the now survivor, dragged across India Gate with 3 people. 3 people were silently protesting with placards in the hand. She was
It is
dragged
condemnable.
away.
You are right.
Her mother was took off, and let me tell you something. Aman just listed out the whole legal loopholes into it. This case is a classic case, textbook case of denial and justice. Sengar committed a gang rape in 2017. He was expelled from the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2019. After what? After institutional apathy, after you have given free rein to Sengar to not just murder the survivor's father, uncle, aunt, have a blatant attack on the vehicle when she was approaching the court, and she had multiple injuries, and this is political. Let me be very clear for it. Because when you start, when there is an
Please
Ankita
don't get politics into it. Let us work towards women getting justice.
All right,
Let's not get politics into it, please.
All right, let me just come in, ma'am. Allow me to please come in here. Of course, I understand.
First answer as a woman of a country and later as an NDA spokesperson, because what is happening to this girl is custodial torture.
Let us all work together to get her justice.
Absolute delay in justice, an absolute travesty of justice.
This is
And now,
absolutely not done.
when this person is would be walking free out of jail, she was protesting silently and she was dragged off. And
Right.
this is how you stand with the
Right. Ms. Shah, let me just come in here. And of course, Mr. Pati, we hear you as well. And I would like to bring Aman into this conversation. Also, of course, what you are saying, that this is not about politics, but there is a larger perceived impact and a fallout of this, and I believe we're all trying to talk about the same thing here. So let's just have that clear and out of the way. That being said, if we talk about the critical lapses in the CBI investigation, which are at this point, we just can't ignore this. Aman, if you could just take us through once more. And of course, we have to talk about the fact that was there perhaps an attempt to weaken this entire case? And of course, Aman has the proof there.
Well, Hem, certainly, see, the CBI claims that in the High Court it has, forwarded a lot of arguments. It has vociferously protested against Mr. Sengar's sentence being suspended. But when you start your arguments in the High Court by admitting that, yes, there is a Supreme Court judgment which says you can't treat an MLA as a public servant under the purpose of POCSO, you're in a way starting with a big disadvantage, number one. Number two, I think this, as I was saying earlier, the seeds of this case collapse were sown in 2019 when the victim's family goes to the trial court and says, look, there is all sorts of doubts over whether POCSO case charges will stand because the victim's age is under contention, put stiffer charges under the IPC against Mr. Sengar. Even if the victim is not a minor, there has been a rape. There has been a rape by a person in authority. So put stiffer charges against Mr. Sengar, try him under those 376K charges which I just listed out, which were there mentioned in that petition. There, the CBI leaves the victim alone. In fact, the CBI says, no, we will not support what the victim is saying. We do not stand for addition of these charges. And now the High Court in its judgment is noting this, that the CBI did not support the victim during those particular trial court proceedings, and that led to the trial court dismissing the additional charges against Mr. Sengar. If those additional charges maybe had been put, today we would not have been in this situation. So I think the CBI, besides the, their investigating officer, which the victim family is saying clearly before the High Court also that it was in collusion, he was in collusion with Mr. Sengar, all the evidences were compromised by the CBI, they did not carry out a fair investigation. This particular 2019 trial court, what happened, and now in the High Court when the CBI comes and in a way surrenders arms and says, yes, there is a Supreme Court judgment which says under POCSO you can't try Mr. Sengar as a public servant. This is what has totally contributed to the collapse of the case. And now, the victim's family yesterday has met Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and soon after we heard from the CBI that it is going to immediately file an appeal in the Supreme Court. We'll have to see what the Supreme Court says, but there are grave errors committed by the CBI in this entire probe, as the High Court judgment is also pointing out, the victim's family is also pointing out. Is that an irreversible loss? We'll have to see what the Supreme Court finally rules on this case now.
Absolutely. Well, Aman, thank you so much for bringing us that also. And with that, Ms. Shah and Mr. Pati, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with your perspective on this as well. We'll, of course, continue to bring you all the investigations and developments on this front. Now, CNN News 18's Shivani Gupta also spoke to Unnao survivors' lawyer, Mahmood Pracha, on the further course of action that she can take and why this order needs to be challenged. Listen to this first.
How do you plan to challenge this contention of the High Court that Sengar is not a public servant, which has gone in his favor in getting this relief from the court?
The reason for grant of this bail is the following, that the High Court cannot decide the appeal, and therefore in time, or it will take some time to decide the appeal, therefore this convict deserves magnanimity and passion and kindness of the court. That is the reason, because you can't keep him endlessly in jail. Now that is the base. So it is, if at all it is a fault of somebody, it's the fault of overburdening of the High Court. Should the convict get the benefit of that, totally neglecting the rights of not only this victim but also the message it is going to send to society at large, that a person like Kuldeep Singh Sengar, who has raped, then ensured gang rape, then killed the father, then tried to kill the victim, in the process killing the lawyer and two of her relatives. And after that also, despite the fact that Supreme Court had ordered transfer of the case to Delhi, CBI inquiry, despite this, he continues to threaten the accused and attacking the family members of the accused, including her husband. But the key reason is now that victims' rights, even in POCSO cases, have to stand down in front of the rights of a person who is a convict, not an accused. Please mark the distinction. A court has given a finding that CBI was helping him. The IO was actually hand in glove with him. Then, when the IO is hand in glove with him, when the state government and central government are hand in glove with him, they are going out of their way to help this person, Kuldeep Singh Sengar. Then to say that these are the faults in the judgment. The central government is trying to withdraw. They have actually placed best of the lawyers, costliest of lawyers, best of lawyers in Supreme Court to have the security withdrawn from the girl as well as from the family. They were successful in getting the security withdrawn. But we had to fight tooth and nail to even maintain the security of the survivor. But in the best effort of the central government and state government is to put them under so much pressure that you will be killed, otherwise compromise.
All right, with that, we are going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. The news and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18.
The course of this entire matter, in the High Court, in the trial court, raises big questions upon the CBI.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Get you the top focus story that we will be tracking in this bulletin. Tariq Rahman, the acting chairman of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is set to return to Dhaka today after 17 years in exile amidst heightened security measures in the country. The airport and route to his residence have been turned into a fortress with a double-layer security cordon in place. His return is seen as a pivotal movement for the BNP, with the party mobilizing nationwide and expecting around 2 to 5 million supporters to gather for his welcome reception. Rahman's arrival comes ahead of the February 2026 general elections, and he is expected to take charge of the BNP's campaign. His mother, Khalida Zia, is currently ill, and Rahman's return is seen as a morale booster for the party. Government has assured security measures, and Rahman's itinerary includes visits to his mother's hospital, the National Memorial, and a reception venue. BNP sees Rahman's return as a chance to reassert its national presence, while intelligence agencies warn of a heightened risk of street mobilization. Party's future plans include pursuing institutional independence, transparency, and anti-corruption reforms in the country. Now, my colleague Siddhant Mishra spoke to BNP leader ABM Musharraf Hussain. Listen in to this conversation.
Botched up investigation. Why to drag India in the first go? Do you agree to this position of the government?
Do you know the previous government like Awamu League, led by Sheikh Hasina? And the most of the criminal they already left Bangladesh for our neighboring country India.
Okay.
So it is the assumption most of the people of Bangladesh, the killer of Osman Faring, they leave the country and now they are staying in India. It is sourced by social media.
But on the basis of social media, your government also brought India into the picture. Do you find it a right decision to do that without getting the case properly investigated?
It is under investigation.
No, but the way Yunus government handled, because of the social media chatter, only the violence erupted in Dhaka, the arson took place, the media personnel were attacked, the media houses were burned.
We never support the attack of Pratham Alu and Daily Star. We protest very strongly, and our party senior leader, they also sympathy about this incident. So we cannot accept such kind of accident.
Okay. So, but you say that the India's name was brought into the picture only on the basis of social media chatter.
Now we want to cooperation from India side, but we think they are involved a lot of propaganda.
Welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying with us. Here's what we're getting for you right now in CNN News 18 mega exclusive news break. Mufti Dhaka Usmani of JUI, a senior ulama mufti, has now questioned the immunity to Asim Munir, calling it haram and un-Islamic. Sources close to JUI have revealed that JUI feels it was used for street power and religious legitimacy, but has denied real decision-making authority. They feel the Sharif government is going against the Holy Quran. Top intelligence sources have informed us that this is open clerical dissent. Like Dhaka Usmani signals a deeper legitimacy crisis for Pakistan's hybrid regime here. So this is the latest that we're getting right now.
होता यह है कि जो सदर ममलिकत को तहफ़्फ़ुज़ दिया गया हमारे सन 1973 के आइन में, वो भी हमारे नज़र में काबिल एतराज़ था और हमारा एतराज़ काबिल एतराज़ रिकॉर्ड पर है। लेकिन उसमें भी ये होता था कि अगर सदारत के दौरान कोई ताज़ीरी मुकदमा जारी हो तो उसको उसके मुद्दत सदारत के दौरान उस पर मुकदमा नहीं चलता था, लेकिन गवाहियाँ सब ब्लॉक कर ली जाती थी और अगर वो जब वो सदारत से माजूल हो तो फिर उसके ऊपर मुकदमा चलाया जा सकता था। और यही सारी दुनिया में होता है। लेकिन हमारी इस 27वीं तरमीम में ताहयात उसको इस्तिस्ना दे दिया गया है। ये कुरान करीम की आयत करीमा, खुलफाए राशिदीन के अमल, खुद नबी करीम सरवर दो आलम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के अमल और इस्लामी तालीमात और अदल इंसाफ, हर एतबार से ये सूरत हाल इंतहाई अफसोसनाक है।
All right, for more on this, we have Anand Narasimhan live with us. Anand, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. Now, of course, he's spoken about how this is un-Islamic and haram. He's speaking about the legal exceptionalism in this amendment, and he's talking about how it conflicts with historical precedent also that he was citing in his statement. What's your assessment? All right, so in a CNN News 18 mega exclusive news break that we're bringing for you right now, Mufti Dhaka Usmani of JUIF, a senior Mufti, has now questioned immunity to Asim Munir. And let me just come back to you. We were discussing how he's speaking about this legal exceptionalism and how it conflicts with historical precedent that he was citing in his statement. What can you tell us?
I just hope I'm audible in a poor network area, but it is important for us to understand, as Manoj Kumar Gupta gets us these details, that there is a risk. Now, some time back, Asim Munir aligned Pakistan military in Pakistan with the Quran and with Islam. And he said that after Makkah and Medina, this is the only place that has been formed after reading of the Kalma, etc., and directly aligning Pakistan as a Muslim nation that follows the tenets of Islam to the road. Now, in this case, what the clerics are doing is, the clerics are saying that under the Quran and the Sunnah, no ruler, general or caliph is above accountability. So you cannot give anybody like immunity for life. So Asim Munir demanding immunity for life is also not allowed in the religious principle. So when you say what is halal and what is haram, what is allowed, what is permissible, and what is haram, what is not permissible. So this is not permissible as for even the religious tenets. So this puts the Pakistan military in a bind. This also puts the coalition that's been stitched up together and that's been put there, the civilian puppet establishment under Shehbaz Sharif, in a quandary, because Fazlur Rahman is being pressured by the JUI Fazlur Rahman is an important cog in the entire coalition to pull out support if this immunity continues. So the 27th Amendment now has also become a point of friction, and there are many people under the Jamiat Ulema-e-Islam, that is the JUI of Jamiat in Pakistan, Islami. They are the ones who are now, and individually many clerics are coming out and saying that what Asim Munir is doing to get unbridled power and also speech legitimacy is not going to be permissible under Islam, and you cannot do it in the name of religion and in the name of the tenets. And if the Islamic Republic of Pakistan and the Sharia law and also the Islamic rules govern this country, then Pakistan military leader Asim Munir cannot have immunity for life. No leader can have immunity for life because you are all accountable. Accountable for your actions, accountable for your deeds, be it from the courts or be it under the under the religion and the rules of the religion. You will have to be accountable for your actions. So this is what is being impressed upon, and this chorus is only growing. So this causes a problem both for Rawalpindi and for Islamabad, the military establishment and the civilian government, because the uneasy lies the coalition as far as the civilian government is concerned. And Asim Munir the military will find it difficult to quell what emerges from the religious text and from the religious leaders and the clerics, because the military has aligned itself and called it nothing but an extension of the religion and followers of the religion. They have not kept themselves secular. So this is where the problem is going to be, and this is just the beginning. There will be more and more voices which will oppose Asim Munir's obviously amendment being granted immunity for life, or that matter any leader being granted immunity for life. Also, we must understand that amongst the religious, the hard right in Pakistan, there is also tacit support, and there are those who believe that Imran Khan is a better leader than the current coalition. And they also don't like the army getting a free run, the military getting a free run.
All right. Anand, thank you so much for bringing us your analysis on that also and breaking this down for us. Now, we are going to continue to track all the developments. We are going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18. Stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Get you the top focus story that we will be tracking in this bulletin. Tariq Rahman, the acting chairman of Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is set to return to Dhaka today after 17 years in exile amidst heightened security measures in the country. The airport and route to his residence have been turned into a fortress with a double-layer security cordon in place. His return is seen as a pivotal movement for the BNP, with the party mobilizing nationwide and expecting around 2 to 5 million supporters to gather for his welcome reception. Rahman's arrival comes ahead of the February 2026 general elections, and he is expected to take charge of the BNP's campaign. His mother, Khalida Zia, is currently ill, and Rahman's return is seen as a morale booster for the party. Government has assured security measures, and Rahman's itinerary includes visits to his mother's hospital, the National Memorial, and a reception venue. BNP sees Rahman's return as a chance to reassert its national presence, while intelligence agencies warn of a heightened risk of street mobilization. Party's future plans include pursuing institutional independence, transparency, and anti-corruption reforms in the country. Now, my colleague Siddhant Mishra spoke to BNP leader ABM Musharraf Hussain. Listen in to this conversation.
Watched up investigation. Why to drag India in the first go? Do you agree to this position of the government?
Now, do you know the previous government, like Ahmad League, led by Sheikh Hasina, and the most of the criminal they already left Bangladesh for our neighboring country India.
Okay.
So it is the assumption most of the people of Bangladesh, the killer of Osman Faring, they leave the country and now they are staying in India. It is sourced by social media.
But on the basis of social media, your government also brought India into the picture. Do you find it a right decision to do that without getting the case properly investigated?
No, it was under
No, but the way Yunus government handled, because of the social media chatter, only the violence erupted in Dhaka. The arson took place. The media personnel were attacked. The media houses were burned.
We never support the attack of POCSO and Daily Star. We protest very strongly, and our party senior leader, they also sympathy about this incident. So we cannot accept such kind of accident.
Okay. So, but you say that the India's name was brought into the picture only on the basis.
Welcome back to CNN News 18 with me, Him Korsura. Now here's the latest that we're bringing for you. The situation in Bangladesh, it's once again spiraled out of control. Following a petrol bomb attack last night, rioters began chanting slogans and engaging in violence. One person was killed in the explosion, we're given to understand. The rioters also vandalized the Madhur canteen at Dhaka University. Further violence in Bangladesh once again spiraled out of control following a petrol bomb attack last night. Rioters began chanting slogans and engaged in violence. One person was killed in the explosion. The rioters also vandalized the Madhur canteen at Dhaka University. As you know, the situation in Bangladesh has been volatile. Tensions have been at a boiling point for the past few weeks, and this is the latest that we are getting right now. Further violence spiraling out of control. Now, for more on this, we have Kamalika Sengupta with us. Kamalika, what really happened here?
Yesterday also, when there was a church, and in this region, which is also near the Dhaka University, suddenly there was a bomb explosion, and one person also died. So it seems that the problem that is absolutely whatever is happening now, that is absolutely showing the law and order situation in Bangladesh, which is deteriorating, and this type of blast, and that too in front of a church, says that it is not only the minorities, Hindu minorities, who are in problem, but this targets also the Christian people who are the minorities in that region. So that is what we are getting. So definitely Bangladesh is in the edge, and things that it's a crude bomb blast which has taken place, and we know that Tariq Rahman just now has arrived in Bangladesh BNP chief. This crude bomb blast also raises certain questions, and this also led to death of a prominent student. We know Osman Hadi was killed, and then another leader was also shot. And after that, yesterday's crude bomb, there also one person got killed. So why this type of anarchy going on? Who is behind this anarchy? Who does not want election in Bangladesh? These are the questions which are coming up. And with Tariq Rahman just touching down now in Dhaka,
right?
It is after so long years. It's something we'll have to really see, that how things, whether things change with his coming, what's going to happen, how the election going to take place. So all these things are something where the international world and everybody is looking into.
Absolutely. Well, Kamalika, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. And of course, in the news that we're just getting right now, BNP's acting chief Tariq Rahman's plane has touched down in Dhaka. Arrival of Tariq Rahman, it is expected to have a significant impact. Jamaat-e-Islami's influence in Bangladesh, which it has been enjoying since the fall of the Hasina government, we are likely to see an impact of Tariq Rahman's return to Bangladesh. For more on this, we have Akanksha Swaroop live with us. Akanksha, thank you so much for joining me. What do you see being the practical implications of Tariq Rahman's return to Dhaka?
Right. Amid much security concerns, this is going to be a defining moment for the BNP and for the overall polity of Bangladesh. because remember, Tariq Rahman, who is the son of Khalida Zia, who we all know is in a critically ill condition. He is returning to Bangladesh after over 17 and a half years right now. And he had been sent into exile after 2007 when he was first arrested and beaten up in police custody. This is the very year when Bangladesh was also taken over by a military coup. Now, such is the turn of events that the very Jamaat-e-Islami, which was in collaboration with the BNP during their rule from 2001 to 2006, will now be in the opposition against BNP. It's being widely speculated that Tariq Rahman will fight elections on behalf of the BNP. He's being seen as a de facto prime ministerial candidate just ahead of the February elections. Amid security intelligence suggesting there's a threat to his life as well, he has taken a leap of faith and made this return today, which marks a very pivotal point in the overall politics